Well, it's fixing to be my birthday, in case you couldn't tell from the hat. It's coming up on August 12th, and I went to thinking about the birthdays I had growing up here in southern Appalachia. Sometimes, it's thundering, sometimes the day started out with getting greased. That's where they'd come in and put butter on your nose before you even got up out of bed. That was so if bad luck tried to come up on you, it'd slide right off. And then there was the birthday spanking. You get a lick for however many years old you were, and then one to grow on, and then a pinch to grow an inch. And if all that wasn't enough, sometimes they'd roll you up under the bed. And birthday parties sure have come a long way. Mama didn't ask us what kind of cake we wanted. She made one from scratch, and there wasn't no theme, and you got what you got, and you were happy with it. And before the cake even made it into the oven, we had the greatest childhood privilege of licking the beaters. But I had an older brother and sister, so that made 3 of us, and there was only 2 beaters. So guess who didn't get to lick a beater? But since I was the leastin', Mama would sometimes let me lick the bowl. And didn't nobody worry about raw eggs and salmonella, 'cause we were outside eating mud pies. A little raw cake was probably the safest thing we ate all day long. And then the cake went in the oven, and that's when the entire house went on lockdown. There was to be no running, no jumping, no slamming of doors, or you might cause the cake to fall. And shoot, I was afraid to even blink. But usually she just locked us outside, because if you did something to cause that cake to fall, she's liable to snatch you bald-headed. I told my daughter about that not too long ago, about how we had to sit perfectly still when there was a cake a-baking, and she thought it was hysterical. And she came home to visit recently, and she put a cake in the oven, and she turned around to me and went, "No running and no jumping." And then when Mama got the cake out of the oven, provided that it didn't fall, it was time for decorating it. And we didn't have new decorations. Mama had a hat box, and after every birthday, she'd take the decorations off the cake and wash them off, and in that hat box they went. And there was only a few of them, and we never knew which one we were going to get. There was a ballerina and a clown, and I hate a clown. But the one I always wanted was, it was like a little circus. There was a merry-go-round and a Ferris wheel, and if I saw that on my birthday cake, I knew my birthday was going to be lit. Also in Mama's hat box were old birthday hats that we reused year after year, and the strings on those hats were taped and stapled to death, but we didn't throw nothing away. And nowadays, reusing things, people might call it being eco-friendly, but Mama called it, we ain't buying another one. Sometimes if we were lucky, Mama might invite the cousins over to celebrate, but there was no venue. The venue was the backyard, and there was no bouncy house, no entertainment, no Chuck E. Cheese. But with my birthday being in the summer, sometimes Daddy would rig up a hillbilly slip and slide, which consisted of some rolled plastic, the garden hose, and baby oil. If we had any food at the parties, it usually consisted of a bag of chips and a thing of French onion dip, but we couldn't do that too often, or we'd be accused of having money. And everybody stood around dipping into that one bowl. And yes, there was double dipping, but we didn't care. We'd been outside eating tree bark, so nobody cared about germs. Now, we did play games. We dropped clothespins in a glass bottle. We balanced an orange betwixt our knees and waddled across the yard and tried to place that orange on top of that glass bottle, the same one that the clothespins were in. Now that was a party. Mama did take pictures with a film camera, and there were only so many exposures per roll, which meant every picture cost money. And you had to send off to get these pictures developed, and sometimes it'd take weeks, and we'd get those pictures back, and they were all terrible. The color would be wrong, they'd be blurry, they'd be blown out, somebody's eyes would be closed, Mama's thumb would be down in the corner of the picture, half of somebody's head would be cut off. It's not like nowadays where you get do-overs and can take 500 pictures on your cell phone. You got what you got, and we loved them all. So those are some of my birthday memories growing up southern Appalachian, and I'm going to have me some lemon cheesecake. The end.